Well, I think that people have a very difficult time practicing the art of not doing.
Yes,
And then
yes.
I think it points out, oh crap, what happened? Oh gosh, there we go. um, that we have a tendency to be really like little rats in the rat race. And I think one of the big learnings in general for myself, and I think for others, is, what is the quality of life that creates? And is that what you want?
Yeah.
Because
In fact,
crisis is a Greek word for new decision moment. It's a
uh-huh.
decision point. It's a new decision point, is what crisis means. It's a crossroads to make a
It's a
new
crossroad.
decision. And so people should be really reflecting and thinking about, what do you want to bring forward into the new now, because it will be different.
Yeah, indeed, it'll be different.
Yeah, it'll be different. So, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of, should be a lot of curiosity and a lot of dreaming and a lot of creativity and reflecting during this time. That's the gift.
That is the gift, really. In fact,
Yeah.
you coping up with all this? Um, how are you dealing with it?
Well, I mean,
Hello.
I have a lot of skills to deal with uncertainty. NLP is all about, having modeling skills. And one of the most important things that we learn is how do you ride chaos? This is chaos. And,
Ah.
how do you ride that wave? And, it's out of your control. So there's no sense in trying to control it. If anybody has that idea, get over that. Um, I say,
Yeah.
make friends with the virus, actually, don't, you have to be like the Indian meeting the rattlesnake on the road. You go your way, little brother, and I go mine. But I acknowledge your existence and I share this world with you. And as far as Mother Nature is concerned, she doesn't favor either of us in any way. So
Yeah. I
we're
think
we're
that's a very good approach. Huh? We can coexist. The
yeah, I
story of
mean, it already
coexistence.
is here. Coexistence, you better coexist.
Yeah,
Right?
it better coexist.
And, I mean, I think when I go to the big position of the whole Mother Earth, the whole Pachamama, she's celebrating.
Oh
She
yeah.
is
And
absolutely
the
celebrating.
most incredible thing for me was, I think as the human race, we've been indoor for just 3 weeks, and in 3 weeks I'm seeing birds coming out, the rare species coming out, the ozone layer getting repaired, and I'm seeing all of that in just 3 weeks.
I know, and that's the point. Don't, sorry, my language, fucking miss it. Don't fucking miss it.
Yeah.
So when I go there, I go, wow, that is the spiritual for me, that right
Yes.
there. That's the awakening right there. If I go to the position of the people who are really suffering and losing family members, people
Yeah.
who have less than I have, I mean, I feel very blessed. I have my little house here. I have enough to eat. I'm warm. What do I have to complain about, really? Then it's a real call to compassion. What can we do as a community? And I've really felt blessed by the NLP community and getting all of the work that they are doing around the world in various communities.
It's
Just,
all these children that you've created, right, across the world. We all follow
well, I
your
don't know
work.
if they're my kids. There are a lot of colleagues out there.
Yeah, when I meant children, what I meant was,
I know
we
what
all
he
learn. Yeah, yeah.
meant.
Did
And
you?
from my own first position, if I want to talk about, in my own shoes, it's the call to presence and appreciation. It's the call for finding the gift, in the situation. It's the call for, managing my emotions from, an adult in an intelligent way. because the emotions they're just going to flow like a river all day long, you know, and some of them are great, some of them are not so great, and some of them are this and a little fearful, and some maybe very excited and curious, and some, you know, maybe a little anxious, but just let them flow. You know, the whole idea of holding difficult feelings is to be able to hold the difficult feelings and not
to
collapse.
hold that. And during these phases, so much of uncertainties and so much of disruption. How do you find this interaction using Skype or using Zoom, teaching this large audience now?
Well, I mean, I don't know yet. I haven't really done it yet. So, I mean, I think like a lot of the world, you know, it's a new position for me too. I haven't done this before either.
I have not done it, and it just.
I think it, you know, it isn't an either or. I think sometimes people get, oh, it's got to be either this or it's got to be that. I think there will be some value of it's another choice. It's another choice.
It should coexist. Even that should coexist.
Yeah, I mean, it already coexists.
Yeah, I've seen your videos back.
Huh?
I've seen your videos doing the score back then, you and Robert.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's stuff, you know, but I think it gives people in this moment in time, it's a great option for, and I think it will create emergent other things as well. So, yeah. It's a time of emergence. I love that. Coming out, when you get ready to come out of the cocoon, when we get ready to come out of emergence. Yeah.
How are you spending your day? Like, well, I know you're walking in your garden, in your area.
Yeah. I have several projects that I'm working on. And so, you know, I talk to people about those projects as they're developing. I spend time talking to friends and family, you know, in various ways, through Skype or Zoom or, a lot of community members asking for little conversations to support their communities, you know, so that those communities can get into the bigger community and bring things to people that help them kind of deal with the thought viruses that are going on around it. And so and I take my dog for a walk. I feel blessed. I can go out and walk in my neighborhood and it's no people around, so you know, it's safe and it's okay to do it.
Do you still go to the wharf? I remember that.
I don't walk down to the wharf because everything's closed down there. You could, you know, but I walk in my neighborhood, which is close by. Yeah.
And how far is downtown Santacruz? I remember
about a mile.
There.
Not far
from where you are?
Yeah. No, 1 mile maybe. Easy walk.
There's Susan asking me, there is so much changing in every day. And in this change, how do you remain calm? How do you manage your emotion? And how do you digest the new world?
Well, there's one thing that I do is I have a belief that everything is always changing anyway.
Yeah. We just took things for granted, I guess.
Yeah. So there, you know, I really believe, you know, that things are always changing. So now what is happening is I'm put in a kind of a confined space, and then I'm hooking into the news so I can kind of stay updated as to what's happening. And that's changing every day.
Yeah.
And so I don't watch the news.
I think that saves the world.
No, I mean, I watch it for a very few moments, or maybe not even watch it at all, but maybe look at a couple of headlines and then I get out. I just let go of a need to do anything but take care of myself and others in this moment, and to be grateful for some time to rest. I hear so many people going, I just need to rest. If I could only rest, I wish I could have a rest. And now you get a chance.
And now we are complaining the other polarity.
you know, and it's really honest what Susan, is that right?
Susan, that's right.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
absolutely right. We have a lot of thought viruses that get going, you know, talk to myself about how awful things could be or are, or scare myself or feel fear and anxiety, or, you know, and those are real. All of us do that. I do it too. And then that's the question. Yeah, that's the question of going, what do I know how to do to soften this? Yeah. Some of it motivates us a little bit, tiny bit motivates us, but you know, I don't think we need to be even motivated right now. I think that's part of the gift. It's okay to just be. Yeah.
Is it really okay? You know, I remember.
I don't know. You have to give yourself that permission.
Yeah.
Nobody can give it.
Yeah, I like when 2 weeks ago when I was really down and we were chatting and the way you mentioned the real test of a practitioner is, that was beautiful.
Yeah, I mean if you really can have some kind of choice about the quality of your inner world, that is the minimum ante for a practitioner.
Yeah, it's mythic world. I like that term that you brought to the world.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's the quality, the one thing nobody can take away from you or have any choice about except you is your inner world. You can't control anything out here. As we can see now, humanity has been humbled by an invisible orb.
Virus, yeah. That's
this
incredible, right?
Has brought us to our knees, right?
Yeah.
In humility. And I think that there's a deep sense that I have to touch in my own spirit.
Yeah, by an invisible orb. Incredible that is. And it's in every way a mythic world.
It is every way a magical world.
You know,
and be careful of how you're thinking in terms of your metaphors. Is, you know, don't go for a military metaphor on this. It's a coexisting metaphor.
Yeah.
You know, it's true, because whatever frame we get in there in our head, our behavior and the rest of our thought process is going to go down that path. So, you know, choose wisely. Choose wisely. Choose wisely. Or wily works too. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to do it. Be tricky. Cool. Great. Thanks, Susan. Good question.
Aarti says, I don't have a question, but I'm so grateful to you for what you have contributed to this world. And in many ways, we live that too. She says, this is a legacy that you're leaving behind. Were you aware that you were creating this while you were creating this?
No. You know, I mean, I always felt just a sense of being very appreciative that I was where I was when I was there, and had the opportunities presented as I went through my life here in NLP. Nobody does it alone. And I had great partnerships along the way. I had great people in my circle of success, as Robert might call it. But thank you for that. And I hope to leave a legacy. I mean, I hope that, you know, all of us have the opportunity to leave something behind that touches the world, that more than just ourselves and our immediate families. We all have that possibility.
Yeah, I think that's a big contribution.
Yeah. Thank you for that. That was very kind. Very kind.
Priti asks me to ask you, what are your self-talks normally, and how do you get aware?
Oh, like I'm so beautiful and like I'm so cool. All that jazz. What are my say that again? What are my self-talks?
So what are your self-talks, and how aware are you of them? Or how do you know that this is right and this is not right? Or what are your self-talks you want to know?
Yeah. How do you know something's correct or not correct for you? For me, that would be more of a feeling. more than a self-talk. It would be more of how I felt in myself with respect to something.
A thought. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I do talk to myself, but I probably talk outside more than to myself, because I have a lot of people that I feel like I'm generating all the time with.
Uh-huh.
You know, sometimes I tell myself I'm stupid, you know, like everybody. Sometimes like I go, what the hell did you do that for? That wasn't very smart. You know, I mean, that's kind of typical. The question just is, you know, are you doing that all the time? And is it creating suffering for you? Then it's a question to bring up, you know, am I talking to myself at least nice as much as I do the other way? At least, okay.
At least.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just
Lovely
feeling
question.
good.
A lovely question.
I'm just feeling good and bad. Good because I'm getting to talk to you, and bad because I'm not able to hug you, touch you,
Oh, you can do
reach
it's
out.
really easy.
Oh, that's so cute.
It works, right? That's an e-hug, they say, a virtual hug.
Thank you, Judy. In so many ways you lead me, you guide me, and I'm just so grateful. I don't know where do I begin that being grateful to you, but I mean that
Thank
in
you.
every way.
I appreciate that, and I think the greatest thing is that you can pass it on. Yeah, that's the greatest.
So grateful to Dick, from whom I could learn that, and through him I could meet you and have this day living in my life.
Sweet. No, sweet. Nice continuity. I mean, I feel I'm in very good company if I considered in the company of Dick McHugh, Father Dick McHugh. So I think I consider
for
that
me, you are the
company for me.
For me, you are the giant on whose shoulders, and I think everybody who learns the subject NLP look up to you as a giant on whose shoulders we continue to stand. You have stood on Gregory Bateson, Milton Erickson. Tell us something. I'll give you the context what I'm asking. Tell us something, because that world that you grew up was a world which was after the World War. Somewhere like this pandemic, uncertain days and times. What was that world, and how do you connect to this pandemic and that world war, and what was?
Well, that's a good question. I think it's an interesting question. I think it's interesting that I've had a lot of conversations with people who are sort of obsessing in a way about the pandemic. I say, don't obsess, but don't be indifferent.
Oh, I like that line.
Find that good balance of kind of curiosity and awareness and a little wisdom. But when I think about my past, I grew up in the 50s. I was a kid, a little kid in the 50s. Then it was all about getting under your desk in case they dropped the nuclear bomb, So that was that was the virus system then.
Do you remember that
also
word?
Polio, and also polio, the polio virus.
Oh yeah, the plague after that.
Had big floods. I remember big floods. That was the year we moved to Oklahoma, so I was about 4 years old. That was 1951 or 52, right in there. So I was still a pretty little kid, but I remember when we moved there, there were floods happening. When I was grade school, was polio epidemic, as well as there was sort of the practicing getting under your desk, as if that was going to do anything, right?
Oh, yeah. If a nuclear bomb is dropped, I'm sure doesn't matter.
But, I think, we've had some real near misses. We have had AIDS, which was an epidemic.
Oh, yeah.
Very serious pandemic around the world, and it took a while to really get it under some control, control, and give people some hope and a life around that. And I think we've had some near misses, like with SARS and with MERS, and with the N1H1 or whatever that was, the bird one. I mean, I think,
Yeah.
you know, we've had some shots across the bow in a way, if you want to use the nautical approach.
Yeah.
And, you
And
know, this one's got everybody's attention.
this one
And
did.
yeah.
Bad. I'm saying it was during that time when Milton Erickson, Gregory Bateson, Virginia Satir were there, and probably.
Oh, well, they were at SRI. I think that would have been in the 60s or 70s when they were at Stanford Research Institute, Virginia
Okay.
and Gregory, Dick Fish. I don't remember who else, but I wasn't around then.
Okay.
I wasn't around then, no.
What's that one thing that you'll always remember having learned directly from Milton Erickson or Gregory Bateson or one of them?
Well, I learned so much. The one thing that I would say with Gregory is the importance of pacing before you lead.
Yeah.
You have to honor what's there before you want to go anywhere else.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if, you know, people lead, but they teach, I'm going to teach you how to pace, and then lead, but they don't ever pace.
I think if you pace well, would there still be a need to lead, right? If you pace really well, authentically.
That's a good question. And I agree with that. I think, you know, am I going to pace and lead, or am I actually just going to enter into this deeper conversation? That's the difference that makes the difference. But you have to pace what's there in the beginning.
Yes. Yeah. That's Gregory at his best.
Yeah. No, Milton. Gregory, I learned so much from Gregory. Gosh, even where to begin with Gregory. But it would be so hard for me to choose of all the things I learned from him. But I would say the thing is his ability to synthesize multiple pathways and find the deeper truth. I would say that.
If you could meet one of them today, whom would it be, and what would you ask them?
I wouldn't choose. I'd take them both.
And what would you ask them? Which of your teachers?
I would ask them if my mom is making them move furniture up in heaven.
Oh God. I really
well,
miss
I would probably ask Gregory, what do you think about what's going on in this moment? And he'd go, didn't I tell you so?
And probably Milton would say,
yeah, you did. You said it.
And maybe Milton would say, I wouldn't have expected anything less for the mess that we as humans did.
Yeah, I don't know. With Milton, it'd be hard to say, you know.
Very tricky and very smart.
He was a doctor. It was a very different framework, but most likely he would say meditate or do self-hypnosis or whatever you want to call it that keeps you sort of in a flow, in the conscious, unconscious, conscious kind of balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like what you wore yesterday. Was it the Star Trek t-shirt?
No.
The with on Skype with Sergey.
Oh, I think I had on a blue sweater, maybe.
Oh, it gave me a look like it was an Enterprise t-shirt.
You're right. No. I had on the like a pullover. Yeah.
I was so
what
keen
were you doing on the Skype with Sergey? Oh, he showed it.
Yeah. I wasn't there on the Skype. I saw that image.
But he showed a piece of it or something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And I said, "Oh, she's looking like a member of the Enterprise."
Yeah, that's right. I have a communicator actually. Somebody gave me the little thing that they tap and remember beam us up.
And then you talk, yeah.
Exactly. Or beam me up, Scotty. Exactly. Great question.
I have another question from Jaya. She's a big fan of Jaya. She's a big fan of your Tetralama. I had the opportunity. I had the opportunity to share it. And she says, I keep falling in patterns. What is a way to come out of it and to recognize that? And what would a permanent shift be?
Well, I would say, how do you know you're falling into the pattern? So what is your early warning signal? So first of all, you have to recognize, right? If it's familiar, if you feel that sense, I've been here before, I've fought this fight before, I've had this conversation, then it's a good point to kind of go into a meta position and get out of the pattern. That's the beauty of the tetralemma. Yeah, the beauty of the tetralemma is to go, it's not this and it's not this. It's that they have this beautiful friendship, this relationship. They love each other, these two parts of myself. Yeah. Although they're in conflict, they wouldn't exist one without the other. So it's that interesting pattern of relationship that I become curious about. So the key to that is the ability to go to another space, literally. Cool. Yeah. To really step out of that whole framework that creates the problem. That's the thinking that creates the problem. And she's right. At first, I have to have an awareness that there's a pattern there. And quite often, the awareness will come through a survival strategy, particularly a survival strategy, where I freeze, where I get scared, where I want to run. I go, I'm here, my body's here, but mentally, physically, or spiritually, or emotionally, I've left, but my body's here. Or I get aggressive. Those are good little indicators. And, they have a range. So I can get really pissed off, or I could be just agitated a little bit, or I could be really, really scared, or I can have a low level anxiety. All of those are in a range, but those are good indicators that there's a pattern there to at least let me get out of that and look at what might be driving that. How am I thinking that might be driving that? Yeah. Good question.
From awareness to action to shift.
Yeah. I mean, first I have to know, oh my gosh, I'm repeating this. It's like, like people, if you've ever met anybody who's been married 4 times, but like all the spouses look just the same, kind of like you go, what's up with that? There might be a pattern there. There might be a pattern there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when those familiar things come around, and especially the tail that wags quite often, it's one of those survival kinds of feelings. Yeah.
What is that you would like to share to the Indian community? Your message during these times, or for the future, or what is NLP going to look like from you, the First Lady, whom we all admire so much?
I don't know. Like I said, this is my first barbecue when it comes to sort of the homestay part of it, and having to create other pathways to communicate. What I would say to India, I would say to humanity, I mean, we're all in this together. We're all in it together. As humans, as a species, we should be greatly humbled by this experience, and we should also be grateful for the opportunity to sit, to reflect, to get to know ourselves in a deeper way. When Mother Nature says you have to go home, that's one thing to be in your home, and it's another thing to find your home in your center of you. Wow. And to live there, and to go, whatever I create, whatever I discover, whatever comes out of this time of reflection, can I bring it into this new moment in time when we get to awaken out of this little cocoon that we're creating? So I send my deepest wishes for health. Yeah.
Do you think the new world will be like the one which we had, or will it be all different? What's your intuition on?
It's whatever we decide we want to create as humanity. If people really settled in and their values, what they really value, and they're connected to the larger system in ways that they haven't before, if they understand that there is a relationship and a connection between this tiny invisible character that's running around and us, when we can really start to get that idea, which comes from India, of the net of Indra, and how we are all connected, and that includes the little virus guy or gal or it, then I think we'll make a better response than we have in the past, hopefully, to humanity and to our world that, you know, holds us, loves us, you know, feeds us, houses us, you know, so we can't expect her to take sides on anything.
Yeah.
Her job is to just be a mom and take care of all her children, so.
And what practices of NLP would you recommend or suggest that one should do it on a regular basis, because it's like brushing teeth?
Well, the old toothbrushing one, I say find a place in your house which you call sacred space. Yeah. Could be with yourself, could be with your family, but you go, that's a sacred space. And when I go there, that's just a place where I go to remind myself to settle down.
The anchor,
I take a deep breath, you know, say yes to life. And, you know, just keep reminding yourself, like brushing your teeth, just keep coming back home. And if emotion starts to flow, just go, let it flow, and just hold it in that bigger sense of who you are. We're all in it together, and we'll all get through it together. Just take care of each other and take care of yourself. That's all I know.
Yeah, that was Jaya's question. What is that one practice we should practice that if you could recommend?
That's it. That's it. Centering.
Centering.
Slow down. Yeah. Pause, breathe, connect to yourself before you connect to others.
Yeah.
You know, if emotion comes, just say, thank you. I understand. It's a tough time. You're not alone. Yeah. I just want to say thank you to the community there and to you for, you know, bringing knowledge to them and wisdom to them, and ask them to be of a support to others in their community, because they know things other people don't know. They have some superpowers other people may not have in this moment. And I understand it's not always easy to remember to use what you know. And that's the importance of the practice. So the more you practice it, the easier it is to just be there. Make everything a meditation if you can, you know? Yeah.
You were always so futuristic, be it technology, be it content, be it approaches, pathways.
Well, I hung out with Robert in the technology stuff. You know?
Oh, he is way.
It wasn't my favorite, but he like really likes.
I know he had an IT company also. He had an organization in IT.
Yeah. No, that's Robert. And then I think his brother worked for Apple. You know, this is a big Apple territory, right? Those guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's where it all began.
John and Richard were one of the first Santacruz distributors of Apple Computer in Santacruz. They had 10 machines in their garage or something, you know.
Oh, this I was not aware of.
When you go pick them up in your car and bring them home to your garage, you were a local distributor. Right?
Yeah, when you say Santacruz, I feel this is a special communication from one Santacruz to that Santacruz.
There you go. It's true. Are you in Santacruz where you live? It's called Santacruz?
Yeah, it's called Santacruz.
What? Stop it. Really? Yeah. So Holy Cross to Holy Cross. There you go.
Yeah, it's called Santacruz. So how did you end up
with the Spanish name?
I don't know. We really have no idea.
I mean, we know here, right?
Yeah.
They had it first. Wow. That's hysterical. Oh, that's amazing. Very cool.
Yeah. I'm speechless. I thought before getting into this conversation, I thought there will be so much I'll speak because it's you, and right now I'm just going speechless. It feels warm. It feels full and empty both together. Just seeing you, and that reminds me that first time in Moscow when I saw you after the long flight that you had. That first
long flight.
the chilies from China.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
I remember that hug, and I thought there's so much I'll speak to you today, but
we'll do it at your time.